Hello everybody, welcome to Review a Day episode number 25 for Saturday, September the 6th, 2008. Hello everybody, welcome to Review a Day, the daily video blog where I review a movie 7 days a week. My name is Leland Brunger and thank you very much for joining me. Today is Saturday and I should be reviewing a new release, but the only movie that was coming out this week was Bangkok Dangerous. And I really didn't want to see it, so I'm just going to review a different movie. I'm going to talk about the original 1975 film Rollerball. This movie had a really terrible remake with Chris Klein and I think Cuba Gooding Jr. I don't know, it was terrible, I remember. This movie is directed by Norman Jewison. This movie is set in 2018 and it's basically an alternate future where corporations have taken over the world. There are no countries, no states, they're just known by corporation names. And there's no war, there's no crime, and basically the only way people vent their kind of pent-up anger is through a kind of violent version of roller derby called Rollerball. It's really just roller derby with motorcycles. They go around in a circle, they grab a ball, they throw it into a hole, and they're dragged around by people on motorcycles. Pretty ridiculous. It's set in the future, so there's futuristic, cool tech gadgets like TV and walls. And I'll get into more of that. Like I said, this movie stars James Caan, who the only really thing I know him from is Elf, which I actually like him in that movie quite a bit. His performance in this movie is kind of strange. In some scenes, he's kind of one of the good old boy kind of, I don't even know. It's just weird. He's kind of a down-home kind of guy, and he seems charming in some scenes, but in the next, he just kind of comes off as a mumbling idiot, and I didn't care for him at all in this movie. This movie is incredibly dated. It was shot in 1975 and it's set in 2018 and it looks like 1975. Who knew that the future people would still be wearing pimp hats and decorate their houses with so much wood paneling? I didn't know that, but this future they do. Everyone dresses exactly like they did in 1975. I'm surprised that they even chose to have this movie set in the future because they did so little work to try and really update it. It's not even the future where everyone's wearing silver jumpsuits and using cool stuff like that. It's just, there's the very first scene, well, everyone has mustaches also, which dates it, and the opening scene after the rollerball game, James Caan is wearing white leisure pants and like a zip-up shirt, and he's wearing a pimp hat, and it's just ridiculous. The film and there's kind of a social commentary going on in this film about corporations and kind of how we look to things to vent our anger and stuff like that. And I have trouble believing when this movie came out that these ideas were interesting and are very smart. And having this and seeing this movie 30 years later, it seems even dumber. You know, it just doesn't make the cut. This is such a classic case of an all-right film that kind of has a cult following that 30 years later just isn't very good. I kind of stumbled upon this movie. I didn't even know that there was an original Rollerball. I thought it was just a bad movie from a couple of years ago, but with Death Race coming out, and I realized that was a remake, people have been talking about the original Rollerball, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that people are still talking about this movie because it isn't very good. But I understand why people like this movie. I don't think any of the story points in this movie, any of the performances, anything the movie says is very smart or very good, but this movie does have the rollerball sequences, which are actually pretty exciting and pretty well directed. It's really fun to see guys get on roller skates and skate around and be dragged behind motorcycles and knock each other over. Because you know, it seems very real because they actually had guys doing these stunts, and today, you know, with so many CG special effects, it's always fun to see kind of how they handle something like this back in the day. You know, this movie's 2 hours long, and just not enough of it are those rollerball sequences. If this movie was, you know, 85, 90 minutes, and a good portion of it were rollerball sequences, I honestly probably could recommend it because those scenes are great. But ultimately, this movie's too long. There's not enough fun stuff in it. I give it a 2 out of 5. if you could somehow just like look up the action sequences on YouTube, it's worth a glance, but you can definitely skip this one. 2 out of 5. If you guys are liking my reviews, make sure and subscribe, or if you guys have any recommendations on films you'd like to see me review, leave them in the comments box. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.